Celebrity mom's murder solved after 40 years. A mother of two from California, who falsely confessed to the brutal murder of a newspaper columnist, has been exonerated after shocking evidence disclosed the true perpetrator. Connie Dahl, then 19, and her partner Ricky Davis, then 20, were erroneously convicted of the 1985 murder of journalist Jane Hilton, 54. Hilton had been beaten and stabbed nearly 30 times at Davis' El Dorado Hills residence, where they were residing. The Los Angeles Times has obtained disturbing transcripts that have now disclosed the horrifying interrogation strategies that detectives employed to coerce Dahl into a false confession. Michael Green, 54, was ultimately identified as the perpetrator through DNA analysis with the assistance of the Northern California Innocence Project. At the age of 17, he had pursued Hilton's daughter, Autumn Anker, home after encountering her at a park, and killed her mother with a vicious stabbing. After his mother was exonerated last Friday, Dahl's son Nick Lange, 30, expressed his desire for her to be present today to witness justice being served in an interview with DailyMail.com. Dahl passed away in 2014, following his release from prison on probation in 2006. Hilton, a writer at the Foot Hills Press, and her 13-year-old daughter Autumn Anker were guests at Wilma Klein's residence in the exclusive El Dorado Hills development, which is situated approximately 30 miles from Sacramento, in July 1985. Hilton, a mother of 6, was experiencing marital difficulties and accepted Klein's invitation to reside at her residence for a few days while she was out of town. Hilton, who was described as a vivacious woman, remained in the home to unwind, while her daughter went for a walk to explore her new surroundings. During this excursion, she encountered 3 youths at a nearby park, one of whom was Michael Green, who was subsequently identified as the perpetrator of her mother's murder. Dahl, who hails from Oregon, was in California to visit his extended family and reside at Davis' residence. She and her lover, Davis, had partied until the early hours of July 7. It was nearly 4 a.m. and Autumn, who was also inebriated, was concerned that she would be reprimanded by her mother. Consequently, she awaited the arrival of Davis and Dahl at their residence. Davis observed that the front door had been opened and one of the bedroom doors had been closed when the trio entered the home. It was there that he discovered Hilton's mutilated body and promptly dialed 911. Upon the arrival of deputies from the El Dorado County Sheriff's Office at the crime site, Detective Bill Wilson and his partner, Detective Larry Hennick, conducted an aggressive interrogation of the terrified trio, who all denied any involvement. Detectives identified Davis as a potential suspect despite the absence of any evidence or a murder weapon. Autumn informed the detectives about the lads she had encountered in the park several hours prior. However, the officers seemed more preoccupied with convincing Autumn to confess that Davis was the perpetrator. According to interrogation transcripts reported by the LA Times, Detective Hennick informed the adolescent that Ricky is lying. Additionally, we are aware of this information. Additionally, we desire the truth. He proceeded, Ricky is a violent individual. He used a tire iron to assault a man because he was displeased with him. Ricky and I have been acquainted for an extended period. Bill concurs. We are aware of his capabilities. Wilson, his partner, attempted to persuade the woman that the hair found in Hilton's hands and the blood on the clothes at the crime site were Davis. Dahl refuted the assertions and informed the detective, there is no such thing as a coincidence. You are unable to attribute this to Ricky, as I was present with him throughout the entire evening. Wilson replied, you observe. The case was left unsolved for 14 years due to a paucity of evidence, and it was not reopened until 1999. Dahl had returned to her hometown of Oregon and had become the mother of 2 small sons. Autumn married and became a mother. Davis was incarcerated in federal prison for executing a bank robbery. The investigation was reopened in 1999 when the El Dorado County Sheriff's Office established the Cold Case Division. Richard Fitzgerald and his colleague, Richard Strasser, investigated the matter and traveled to Oregon to interview Dahl. According to the LA Times transcripts, Fitzgerald stated, we are aware that you were present in the residence at the time of the incident. Dahl was adamant, I was not. The same aggressive line of inquiry was employed by the detectives when they moved on to Autumn. Transcripts disclosed Fitzgerald informed Hilton's bereaved daughter, I anticipated that you would be a crack dealer in San Jose or something. Nevertheless, Autumn refused to cooperate with the authorities. asserting that she was not involved in her mother's assassination. Detectives presented Davis with harrowing photographs from the crime site during his visit to federal prison. However, he maintained his innocence. In the subsequent 18 months, the detective concentrated on Dahl, the weakest link, and endeavored to undermine and perplex her, to ensure that her narrative eventually aligned with theirs. Detectives employed one of their strategies by persuading Dahl that the bite mark discovered on Hilton's shoulder was hers. "Let me know. I am unable to provide you with the answers at this time," Fitzgerald stated. "I am unwilling to provide you with the answers." Dahl responded, "You are correct. It is impossible. I am aware, and I am currently endeavoring to recollect the information. I recall their altercation. I do. However, the incident occurred upon our return home, as I was inebriated. How could I? You were present. It was evident to you," Fitzgerald stated. Dahl responded by saying, "Please wait a moment. I intend to. I am endeavoring to recall the information. I believe they did engage in an argument in the upper reaches. But I am utterly bewildered by this." "You are not perplexed," Fitzgerald responded. "You are hesitant to impart the truth to us." Vern Pearson, the El Dorado District Attorney, conducted a press conference after Davis' release. Pearson explained that Dahl and Davis' convictions were the result of outdated police interrogation and interviewing tactics, which employ pseudoscience and psychological coercion, as reported by KCRA News. "Errors were committed, and it is my moral and ethical obligation to recognize the error, accept responsibility, and extend an apology to those who were impacted," he stated. Pearson stated in the news release, "I pledged to Mr. Davis that I would make every effort to modify the interviewing training that resulted in his wrongful conviction. We will persist in the instruction and promotion of these novel methodologies to prevent the recurrence of wrongful convictions, such as those of Mr. Davis and Ms. Dahl." At the request of the Times reporters, the El Dorado County District Attorney's Office submitted a motion to vacate Dahl's guilty plea to manslaughter in 2005 earlier this year. Dahl's children were ecstatic to discover that their mother was no longer considered a convicted murderer. Dahl's two children traveled from their residence in Oregon to the El Dorado courthouse last Friday, where they encountered Davis and D.A. Pearson for the first time. The LA Times reported that Judge Larry E. Hayes presided over the hearing and exonerated their mother. Nick, who is currently the father of twin one-year-old boys, expressed his desire for his mother to be present to witness this event. According to DailyMail.com, he was only 9 years old when his mother was incarcerated, and he was never fully informed of the full narrative during his childhood. Additionally, his mother never discussed the case with him or his brother. He stated, "I believe there may have been some shame. She may have been concerned about our perception of her if we had been informed. We spent our entire lives without truly understanding that our mother was a convicted murderer. I was incensed. I was devastated." He further stated, "She possessed a kind and compassionate soul, and she was undeserving of any of that. She was unable to secure employment. Due to that allegation on her record, she was unable to secure housing." He acknowledged that his mother and he occasionally encountered difficulties in their relationship. The best she could with the resources at her disposal. Meeting Davis for the first time was a special moment for Dahl's sons. Davis, according to Nick, felt remorse for what happened to my mother. He disclosed, "I conveyed my apologies to him regarding his ordeal. Many years of his liberty were forfeited. The interaction was exceedingly positive, extremely optimistic. I am delighted that he is now experiencing his life, as he is well deserving of it." He laughed when asked to describe his mother, stating that she was somewhat of a wild card, in a good way. He responded that she would likely celebrate by having a few beers. To be honest, when asked what she would do or say today if she knew she had been ultimately exonerated. The nearly 40-year-old case was eventually resolved with Green behind bars and Davis free. Did you like it? Tell us what you think of the video in the comment section below. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more interesting videos.